Floor level -3. Garrison and isolation ward.
Wow. Look what the wind blew in. Have a good one.
Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Welcome back.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics
It was nice chatting.
damage. Your life will be forfeit. Floor level -2.
Hello again.
Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place. World a better place. Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
See you later.
Floor level -5. Living quarters. Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
We're changing society itself. In the new committee.
Floor level -2, warehouse.
Good luck. See you later. Good luck.
Move along and don't hang around.
And I was starting to get bored.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit. Floor level -5.
Congratulations to you all. Happy holiday to you. Happy.
Floor level -1.
Good day.
Not now.
Political games don't suit Picnic.
Picnic's attempts to gain power are somewhat self-contradicting, right, Senpai?
So many liars and scoundrels in one place.
Senpai, my social algorithm advises you to think very carefully before you go there. And before deciding not to go, too.
Audrey hugs you.
It's good you're here. Frankly, I feel like I owe you. What you did for Picnic was priceless. No, really, everyone who came here wanted to split the dome into pieces like a pie. They want to make it and Maelstrom their own. This is so wrong.
The Blue says, grimacing. Audrey looks down.
Maelstrom may be a great advantage, or even a weapon, if in wrong hands. We must make sure that it wouldn't begin to grow uncontrollably. I don't impose my opinion, but the more the entire dome will resemble Picnic, the better and quieter our lives will be.
She looks up and stares you in the eye. Melville looks around.
I envy the people who built Concord. Firstly, they had the freedom the late Cronus could never dream of. And secondly, they had freedom. There's no secondly for us, you see? They traveled here.
Audrey studies the foothills. Audrey studies.
Those are the folks who conquered Maelstrom.
We will be able to obtain new scientific data here? What do you think, Senpai? We can help Carmine Heights and carry out a social experiment to reach a compromise. What do you think, Senpai?
The Reisners meet you at the large, brightly lit camp. The Blue shakes her blonde locks.
I was wondering when you'd show up.
Radiation around the maelstrom may be kind of concentrate.
All he thinks about is his work.
Olivia moves away. The same kind of tiredness reads in Johann's eyes when he turns to you. The head of Carmine Heights shakes your hand.
Good to see you again. Carmine Heights is booming, and everyone knows it's thanks to you. In the meantime, I found what I believe is
Johann brightens up.
It's a rather interesting topic. Russo sent me the full decoded Don't get me wrong, I'm fond of fundamental science. But if you're given a hammer, you knock the nail in rather than study what the hammer is made of. The time for study will come, but now we have a lot.
Olivia peeks from behind Johann's shoulder.
All I heard is just a lot of problems. And that's it exactly. If the maelstrom is a tool, let's use it to solve problems. We need water, we need proper weather. We have to solve the problem of infertility inside the dome. You keep talking about technology.
The Blue shakes his head.
I ask myself the same question. Has it, though you did remind us of the most important thing.
Not now. Not now.
Kinsblood. Maelstrom is burning in their eyes.
Switching to high alert mode.
A roughly nailed together wooden stage hangs over the yelling and shifting crowd of fops. Standing on the scaffold, Victoria waves at you.
Hey, now.
Victoria looks at the guillotine.
This is as obvious as it is right, Knight. You will carry me to the mail.
She frowns, adjusting her crown, which slipped sideways a bit.
That is curious, even. Why those stupid questions?
Victoria chops air with her hand.
Nonsense. Once we subjugate the maelstrom, we will have so much ice. That is a shame. Well then.
A crowd of armed fops begins to surround you.
I'm gonna bathe in your blood. Asshole.
Target priority setting has changed.
That's it. Your ass is grass. Careful.
Greetings.
Come on. Let's go.
My sensors are picking up increased radio frequency activity. There is a powerful transmitter running in the Phalanx camp.
Those red people smell weird. But maybe they aren't that bad, actually.
Senpai, I feel a strong electromagnetic.
Audrey studies the foot. Audrey studies the... Henrietta, wearing a white wing field service dress, greets you with a mock. She looks at the ruins in the distance.
All of this infrastructure still looks...
The white produces her Kairos.
Now this is the right question. Do you remember me saying there were certain problems?
Russo clicks some buttons.
The Maelstrom is now where the Concord station landing ground once was. You remember the station? I hope you won't be knocked out with an attack of nostalgia, because you'll have to come to grips with the Maelstrom. Maybe then I'll be able to establish the connection.
Nakamura is already waiting for you. She looks you over.
Your work for the new committee wasn't exactly flawless. I've long pondered if I should enlist your aid again, but haven't come to any definitive conclusion.
Where are you going? I said we need to discuss something.
Kimiko snaps. Nakamura gestures you to sit down, though she herself remains standing.
I'd like to talk about your action at the closing stage of the operation. What you need to do when you contact the Maelstrom.
Kimiko nods deeply. The Silver remains silent for a few moments, gathering the appropriate words.
The emulator project was founded to take the Maelstrom under control for the safety of the dome's inhabitants. And I will not let this control slip into the hands of dubious... I don't care whether or not you believe my course to be right. You're not supposed to give me evaluations. You only must do...
Sable brings her a case. Kimiko clicks the turn locks open. Lift. The chairwoman pushes the case toward you.
It's kind of an emulator early version, only much weaker. I need you to link it directly to the Maelstrom. Do you understand the task?
Nakamura turns the helmet to show you the folded transmitter unit antenna.
As soon as you connect it, I'll be able to send signals to the Maelstrom.
Kimiko shakes her head negatively.
No. Each such helmet is adjusted individually to the user's brainwaves. If reset, it should be
The Silver looks at the device.
I'm no engineer. I don't know all its nuances. I do know, however...
She closes the case and pushes...
That's it then. Get ready and set whatever you think. I do this...
The Phalanx camp is militarily ascetic, but even it bears some semblance of comfort. A table with a lamp and some documents is standing by the fire, and a golden statue of Christ. Zemeckis greets you with a small, sarcastic smile.
Look who's here. I guessed you were still deciding whose side you're on. But it's...
Noting your interest, the head of the Phalanx jokes around for a while, dodging the question, but finally bursts out laughing.
You are a god. I have an offer to make. And it has to do with...
Hieronymus jerks his thumb in Maelstrom's direction.
The Maelstrom is, so to say, an omnipotent, endless source of information. We are all connected to it, unwillingly, in a two-direction way. Receive and pass data. Actually, the Maelstrom contains all our thoughts and deeds. And I'd like to tell you a secret.
He says, after a long pause.
My engineers and programmers created a system capable of analyzing data from the Maelstrom and turning it into predictions. The only thing left.
Zemeckis moves the flap of his coat aside. You notice a gun in his waist belt and a small knife on his thigh. However, he doesn't reach for the Phalanx leader hands you the device and pats you on the arm reassuringly.
Here your part begins. Taking this device to the center of the Maelstrom will be a piece of cake for you. I won't insist on you making your decision here and now. Take your time. But think. If we know the results of our actions, we will become gods.
Reverend Santiago greets you with a fixed smile. His expression is polite, but indifferent.
Ah, it's you. We all have a big day today, but you especially so.
A hologram of a tall, gray-haired old man in scarlet robes approaches you slowly and solemnly. He scrutinizes your face with his attentive, restless eyes.
From the moment you crossed the threshold of the temple, I expected something more. I understand your hesitation. You were trying to pick a side. Now...
Memories.
Senpai, Maelstrom is very close, but its activity is lowered. Strange.
Concord Station's bus stop is shady and silent. Now this place looks completely unrecognizable. The metal doors leading to the station suddenly begin to tremble, slowly shifting to the sides. Primitive automation and reliable light sensors still work despite all the cataclysms. Several people appear in the doorway. They have no insignia and uniforms, but they do not look like bandits. They must be from Picnic. You freeze among the ruins, For a while, the fighters wander around the hall, discussing the noise they heard a few minutes.
It's so close. Maelstrom.
Senpai, the anomalous radiation level is in the upper range of safe exposure. I advise caution.
The wind howls in the ruins of the hall. The floor here is still strewn with burnt flares and documents stuck to the tiles. Traces of a hasty, panicked evacuation. As soon as you step back into the shadows and press against the wall. Let's go inside. A voice distorted by the interference of the intercom is heard from somewhere above. Several ropes hang through the holes in the ceiling. Stopping in the middle of the hall, the blacks look around for a while and then lower their weapons in frustration. After a brief conversation, the special forces leave. The silver follows after them, writing something. A heavy blow rings out behind your back, followed by rumbling, metallic grinding, and the roar of an engine. You turn to see a phalanx. The car stops. An energetic little man with an angry, sunburned face jumps out. On their commander's orders, they anchor their grappling hooks on the remains of a glass bridge and climb to the second floor. You quickly find shelter among the broken walls and debris. You watch from cover as the mercenaries arrive. They look around for a while, then move deeper.
It's so close. Maelstrom.
Senpai, the anomalous radiation level is in the upper range of safe exposure. I advise caution.
On your way through the broken decontamination chamber, you hear a hollow booming and clatter. Eventually, it will all come down to ethics, Myrtle. Zemeckis will use Maelstrom for his own benefit, as will Nakamura and the Reisners. In this scenario, someone will be left out in the cold. It's important that that someone... Shifting the rusted shutters slightly apart, you look through the gap. The ecozone looks deserted and even more overgrown. A mossy, you freeze in the bushes and hold your... A small light flickers inside the duct, probably the beam of a flashlight. The conversation grows louder. The debaters are approaching. Do you realize how much you've shifted the emphasis? It doesn't matter who will, as you like to say, be out in the cold. God! The fact that someone ends up a loser makes... A squad steps out of the duct. They're wearing protective suits with Carmine Heights insignias. They scatter across the ecozone, careful to stay hidden from the Mobius. The holographic training simulation is still running. Pink silhouettes are walking their patrol, weapons ready. Looking over the terminal, after some time you notice a group of temple novitiates. Like you, they're studying the hologram. You freeze near the crumpled wall pad. The churchmen proceed cautiously through the hall. Maelstrom is getting nearer. The increasing vibration and tense crackling of your Kairos Geiger counter attest to it. Beyond the door at the end of the corridor, a strange rattling sounds from the restroom. The noise gradually increases in volume until it explodes into a cacophony of breaking porcelain and gushing water. Almost simultaneously, you're hiding in the ruins of visitor registration. The fops run to and fro across the destroyed lobby, screaming, turning over chairs, smashing light bulbs, and urinating in the flower pots. They don't seem to have...
The anomalous radiation level is in the upper range of safe exposure. I advise caution.
The crackling of your Kairos suddenly breaks through Maelstrom's howling. Pulsating purple waves ripple and flex in the glowing air as if boiling about the invisible border. You throw your head back to see Maelstrom lift. You throw a bolt at the anomaly. It hops about in the air for a few seconds as if green rays flicker across the surface of the anomaly. You circle around the anomaly. It's an irregularly shaped bubble around a dense, swirling void. The anomaly covers an area of about 30 square meters, and most of the landing capsule falls within its perimeter. That will be a problem. This is...
Senpai!
Yoko grabs you by the collar with a small but unexpectedly heavy hand.
I fully support your decision to conduct an experiment.
The anomaly suddenly seems to stretch towards you, as if sensing your... The robo-girl tilts her head and scans the anomalous zone. Her eyes glow blue.
Senpai, this is a meat grinder. A very rare and dangerous anomaly. Research suggests that it is sentient. It appears near places that are otherwise inaccessible and collects human sacrifices.
You return to the anomaly. The uneven border of pulsating air is... You circle around the anomaly. If you throw a bolt at the anomaly, you walk decisively into the tensely vibrating bubble and feel the space. Yoko rushes towards you. Her servos are working to their limit. You've never... She smells of burned plastic.
Are you alright, Senpai?
The anomaly surrounding the landing pad begins to change. The vibration around its perimeter grows more rapid and chaotic, as if engulfed by a transparent flame. In response, the robo-girl tilts her head and squints.
Your demise would be an irreparable loss for humanity, Senpai.
Fox growls in your face, shaking with impotent rage. Looks like...
Return safely.
Fox grunts softly from beneath her mask. You look back at the ruins of the landing pad once more. A purple glow seems to have frozen in the air. Somewhere high above you. The maelstrom, now weak and shrunk, is slowly spinning amidst the thick fog. It is restrained by the emulator's core broadcasting via the maelstrom beacons, though still very dangerous. You touch it with your fingers for a split second, and listening carefully, you hear the familiar sound ingrained in your memory. Soft. Your mind opens toward the white nothingness as if hanging in midair. And something living inside the maelstrom, invisible but perceptible, freezes in front of you, awaiting your command. You order the maelstrom to stop and cease functioning. It obeys reluctantly, its spinning growing ever slower, its signal fading. The plot line on your Kairos shows gradual reduction of any mail. The world before your eyes is turning into a white nothing. Yellow dust is still hovering in the warm air, not yet settled down completely. Russo is standing near her tent, looking. Henrietta shakes her sleeve of the desert dust, laughing.
Oh, I don't know. Buy another dozen pairs of...
Melville's standing by a huge backpack, looking at you with disappointment.
It's cool to...
Another milestone in the history of mankind has come to an end. Maelstrom, that you have awakened in the excavation zone at C-12 Nash. Of course, Maelstrom was neither good nor evil. It probably turned out to be just a tool that humanity simply was not mature enough to wield. Perhaps one thing is indisputable. Maelstrom, lost in its own creation, gave rise to your incredible mind. And once in your hands, it gave you the opportunity to change the fate of the world completely. Whatever this gift of the forefathers really was. You strolled farther and farther away from the camp. Though you interfered with the new committee, your actions had no significant influence on the organization's fate. Some things changed for the better, some things to the worse, but generally, its status remained the same. After defeating the Maelstrom and wandering around the desert to your heart's content, you returned to Junktown and took the mayor's chair. Upon improving your relationship with Bethany, you took on a course to build a thriving capitalist community. Since Spengler, who lost his... As for the life on Magellan Station, nothing changed. Elections took place in Carmine Heights. The Reisners kept their position. Your help had a significant effect on the settlement, and the community learned its lesson. Peace among its members became the highest priority. The long-lasting, simmering conflict which had been ruining the marriage of Johann and Olivia gradually faded. The now wiser spouses managed to build a balanced settlement, combining both Zemeckis' embarrassment from losing the elections in Carmine Heights. Hieronymus channeled all his passion toward transforming the Phalanx, trying to turn it. One could say he failed. The false database you gave him did not allow Zemeckis to lure the new committee's key employees away, which was necessary to develop the Phalanx. The pocket country created by Hieronymus decayed gradually, becoming totally unpopulated after a couple of decades. Zemeckis himself died in 1999. After all, your actions concerning the church were somewhat contradictory. The organization existed for many years, reaching its full potential in 1993. As for the picnic neutral zone, it degraded slowly for many years. Your help proved to be not enough to provide its autonomy. The sudden and, more importantly, pointless death of the Queen was a hard blow to FOP morale. Just a few years after losing, it took time to achieve a fragile balance under the dome. Though mankind got what it wished, the euphoria of defeating the Maelstrom soon faded, for many problems remained unsolved. Though it became obvious much later, after many years, by that time, the desert had covered your traces. No. The maelstrom, now weak and shrunk, listening carefully. Your mind opens toward the white nothingness as if hanging in midair. You order the maelstrom to clear the dome, completely destroying all intelligent life. The thin net of greenish lightnings covers the slowly spinning vortex. The maelstrom is growing bigger and spinning. The world before your eyes starts quivering. Another milestone in the history of mankind has come to an end. Maelstrom, that you... Of course, Maelstrom was neither good. One thing is indisputable. Maelstrom, lost in its own creation. Maelstrom had revealed the worst vices of the human race. And the term... After the dome clearing program was activated, the place appeared to you in an entirely new, unfamiliar form. Its landscape changed. Maybe mankind should have seen the dome in that state. Maybe the maelstrom was just a system error. Or a restart button. There were lots of... The maelstrom, now weakened, listening. Your mind opens toward the white nothingness as if hanging in midair. And something living. You produce the device made by the phalangists from your pocket. Its function is quite clear. It's a powerful portable radio station powered by the maelstrom's magnetic field and connected to a relic via a special decoder. And nothing happens. Only the green. You take a step back, lose your balance, and fall into the endless white. Yoko looks at you with glowing blue eyes.
Research mode. Senpai, your mission is complete. Explain to me what is customary to do in such cases. Will you go for recycling?
The robo-girl nods.
The answer...
Yoko's eyes change color.
Social mode.
The robo-girl freezes for a couple of seconds, apparently analyzing the data array.
From our travels, Senpai, further studying of society seems pointless to me. I plan to return to Magellan, to Akira, and carry out research tasks.
The girl nods shortly.
Offer accepted, Senpai. Command protocols are set. I am ready to explore the dome, Senpai.
Zemeckis is sitting in the same place, but there's no teacup.
Mr. Christ is a non-drinker, so I waited for you. Sit down, please.
Zemeckis points at the bottle with a broad, slightly drunk gesture.
Ouzo, a national drink. Kind of anise hoods, but with some peculiarities. It's advised to water it down.
The Phalanx leader reaches for the carafe, but drops it from the table with an awkward motion.
Well, so you'll have to have it straight. Don't worry, it goes.
The strength is breath-catching, but the drink is good. Zemeckis reclines in his chair, looking pleased.
Feasts usually require small talk, but goddammit, I have no idea what to ask. So go ahead.
The Phalanx leader strokes his beard.
The most glittering future possible. The Maelstrom is what we thought it to be. It is a database, an encyclopedia. Imagine every person having a book which they could open to...
Hieronymus roars with sincere laughter.
And what?
He stops laughing and refills his shot glass, growing grim.
I was in jail. Got here as an orange, but changed that. The infrastructure was building up quickly then. Everyone strived for senior posts, while I secured myself an assignment to the most damned asshole in the South. And where there are no bosses, then the incident happened. And then, little by little, step by step, the Phalanx formed. If you look for some life lesson in my past, here it is. You, whatever you wish. Your health.
He reaches with his glass toward you with a serious expression. The drunken Hieronymus nods. He blinks sleepily. The glass... Melville's standing by a... Yellow dust is still hovering in the warm air, not yet settled. Henrietta shakes her sleeve of the desert dust, laughing.
Oh, I don't know.
Hanging her head, Fox is listening to her. The woman looks up at you in a completely non-aggressive, almost pleading manner.
The maelstrom sounds different when it's in...
She shrugs.
Same as always.
Fox snorts.
I'm coming with you. And with your robot.
Another milestone in the history. Of course, Maelstrom was neither good nor evil. It probably... One thing is indisputable. Maybe only his incredible shrewdness made Zemeckis place his bet on you. Maybe also Hieronymus managed to use the transmitter's power wisely. The data coming to the Phalanx's information center via radio communication gave Zemeckis... The new committee proved not to be strong enough to withstand Zemeckis' influence. Though it kept a semblance of power, it lost its capacity of... Of course, Zemeckis won the elections in Carmine Heights. With an unlimited access to the Maelstrom-gathered information, Hieronymus got the most out of his victory, making all things considered. The settlement profited a lot from the cooperation. The singular advantage gotten thanks to you and multiplied by Zemeckis' ability to use information well obviously made the fortress on the cliff a new center of... The church had never particularly interested Hieronymus. Once he got access to the virtual world technology, Zemeckis had seemingly forgotten about the... Your actions concerning the church were somewhat contradictory. The organization existed for many. As for the picnic neutral zone, the sudden and, more importantly, pointless... Though, let's get back to the Phalanx. Both Hieronymus and his little empire eventually became frighteningly strong. The best scientists and an unlimited access to knowledge let the Phalanx develop robotics, genetics, communication, and weaponry to an incredibly high level. The dome-provoked infertility dealt with, the aging problem solved, and death triumphed over, Zemeckis and his inner circle replicating themselves endlessly. They managed to leave the dome and, finding the Earth deserted, populated it in hundreds of years with a mortal, knowledge-longing biomass. But all that would occur much, much later. By that time, the Barons would have erased your traces, and your bones would have decayed. The Maelstrom, now listening, your mind opens toward the white nothingness as if hanging in midair. You produce the device made by the phalangists from your pocket. Its function is quite clear. It's a powerful portable radio. The device is broadcasting in encrypted mode now, which you don't like. You unplug the decoder and connect the relic's adapter directly to the radio station. From now on, any information getting... You take a step back. Yoko looks at you with glowing blue eyes.
Research mode.
The robo-girl nods.
The answer...
Yoko's eyes change color. The robo-girl freezes for a couple of seconds.
Further studying of society seems pointless to me. Senpai, I inform you that I am going to Magellan. If you...
Yoko walks away with a... Melville's standing by a huge... Yellow dust is still hovering in the warm air. Henrietta shakes her... Zemeckis is sitting in the same place, but there's no... Hieronymus raises his glass slightly above the table. Zemeckis pushes the bottle toward you.
Ouzo, a Greek national drink.
Zemeckis watches your sour face and laughs.
Oh dear, to hell with you. Do as you wish.
Another milestone in the history. Of course, Maelstrom was neither good nor evil. One thing is before throwing the Phalanx's transmitter into the Maelstrom, you reset it to broadcast at an open frequency. The Church's covert agreements, the new committee's secret protocols, the Phalanx's military plans, as all kind of intrigue or double gaming became impossible, the significance of the Council increased dramatically. Nakamura's array was passed, a code of laws regulating life under the new circumstances. The central part of the dome was named a neutral zone. The other territories were divided equally between the Phalanx. Isolationist policy became useless. The era of forced cooperation and mass control began. Eventually, the Union was created in 1990. The Union's laws gave all inhabitants of the Dome equal rights and duties. Carmine Heights bid farewell to its freedom and liberalism. So did the Phalanx to its rare relics. The consolidation of resources made for a scientific growth and a kind of social equality. Dissidence was prosecuted. A person who voiced rebellious ideas would soon catch the eye of the... But that would happen many years later. By that time, your name would be forgotten, and your bones would have decayed. Only the story of the New World's birth would remain of you, an embellished... The Maelstrom, now listening. Your mind opens toward the white nothingness as if hanging in midair. And something living in... From all available options, you choose this one. After all, who, if not the people of Carmine Heights, deserve to be the first leaving the Dome that within a few years became a prison to humanity? You give the Maelstrom an order, and it obeys without a grumble. The spinning vortex widens and shoots up to the skies. A real storm rises around you within moments. It pulls in. You end up in an endless whiteness. Johan and Olivia are already waiting for you. They're watching the maelstrom, standing by their tent. It seems almost motionless from here.
You turned it into a tunnel.
Johan...
Oh, well, one can forget about the calm, normal life. Of course, there's no problem more urgent than to get out of the dome.
Johan and Olivia are watching the maelstrom silent. Another milestone of one thing. After hearing Johan's ideas, you turn Maelstrom into a kind of giant tunnel, or rather an elevator, leading to the aperture at the top of the dome. Your decision did nothing to diminish the controversy among the exhausted Baron's dwellers, but it did distract everyone from their... Though you interfered with the new committee, your actions had no... After defeating the Maelstrom and wandering around the desert to your heart's content, you returned to Junktown and took the mayor's chair. As for the life on Magellan Station, nothing changed in particular. Zemeckis' embarrassment from losing the elections in Hieronymus channeled all his passion toward transforming the Phalanx. One could say he failed. The false date of the pocket country created your actions concerning the organization existed. As for the picnic neutral zone, the sudden and more important, with Maelstrom transformed into a gate to the outside world, Carmine Heights' position has only strengthened. With the developments in the ISO-suit program and you performed a great service for the engineers working on the ISO-suit project. Thanks to your efforts, after rigorous testing to confirm the reliability and safety of ISO-suits, the first what they discovered was incomprehensible and alarming. After descending the outside of the dome, the researchers headed for Crystal Sands. They reported a haunting silence echoed throughout the dome. Humanity now knew that escaping the dome was not the end of their trials, but though it became obvious much later, after many years, by that time, the desert had covered your traces. Though the tale of what you'd done is still... The Maelstrom, now listening, your mind opens toward the white nothingness as if Olivia Reisner's idea might seem naive and idealistic, though it does have a point. With all the knowledge from the Maelstrom and all the scientific the spinning vortex shoots up, and a couple of moments later a loud thunder comes from above. You step back, stumble. Both Johann and Olivia are standing beside their canopy, motionless.
We had a chance to get out of here. Did you decide this was more important?
Olivia puts her arm around his shoulders.
But it is more important. Do you remember saying you wanted to plant a persimmon tree near our house? We'll have a garden.
With a brief sigh, Johann covers her hand with his. Another milestone in the history of man. Of course, one thing is, you judged Olivia Reisner's idea to turn Maelstrom into a source of life, the most humane and reasonable. Under your instructions, the Megalo anomaly transformed. The dead desert bloomed. Rivers flowed again in the canyons, and less than a year later, if the new Maelstrom changed people's lives, it did not change their natures. With the threat of imminent... Though you interfered with the new committee, your actions after defeating the males... As for the life on Magellan, elections took place in Carmel. Your help had a significant effect on the settlement, and the long-lasting, simmering conflict which had been ruining the marriage of Johann and Olivia gradually faded. The now wiser spouse, Zemeckis and Hieronymus, channeled all his passion. One could say the pocket country created. Your actions concerning the church were somewhat contradictory. The organization existed for... As for the picnic neutral zone, it degraded slowly for many years. The sudden and, more importantly, pointless death of the Queen was a hard blow to FOP morale. Despite some upheaval and strife, the time after Maelstrom's transformation was unusually calm. Olivia's short-sightedness did not become apparent until early 2002, when the rapidly growing population of the Dome faced the threat of hunger and other resource constraints, inevitable problems in such a confined territory. Observations of the Dome's apex revealed another alarming dilemma. From the moment of Maelstrom's transformation, the aperture was slowly shrinking, gradually turning it into a closed biosphere. Human civilization's new paradise was not a deception, but it turned out to be a test. Having resolved the problem with Maelstrom, humanity would face even more serious challenges. Though it became obvious much later, the Maelstrom, now weak and shrunk, your mind opens toward the white nothingness as if hanging in midair. You produce the beta helmet from your pack, take it closer to the slowly spinning streams of the Maelstrom, and order the Maelstrom to pass control. Despite hacking the helmet, you realize that you no longer direct the Maelstrom. The control is lost, and the space around you is... Nakamura is pacing back and forth in her tent, but stops anxiously when you come in.
Did you bring the helmet?
The Silver takes the device out of the case with She turns to you.
You fulfilled your part of our treaty and did a huge favor to the citizen of the new committee.
Another milestone, and of course, one thing. Maelstrom, which mankind spent so much effort to conquer, was too valuable to destroy and too dangerous to make it a public good. That equipping the Beta helmet, Kimiko engaged in a merciless struggle with everyone who defied the committee's monopoly on power. Magellan, which even under the new committee had been showing the first signs of self-government, finally lost its autonomy. The post of base director was abolished, and the state Carmine Heights, which had never claimed leadership under the dome, finally lost its position. With Maelstrom's overwhelming power at her disposal, Kimiko forced the community into indentured service. As far as the church was concerned, Kimiko used all of her growing influence to crush the brainchild of the abbot in Santiago. After she officially banned the church in 1982, the abbot died a couple of years later, and Reverend Santiago. But the technology of the virtual world outlived its creators, preserved in the most disgusting of forms. With Maelstrom's awesome power at her disposal, Chairman Nakamura turned the virtual world into a... Shielded from the effects of Maelstrom, the picnic-neutral zone thrived, eventually growing into a conglomerate of free settlements, paying allegiance to no one. In truth, Picnic posed no threat to the new committee's power. This was obvious to everyone, including, despite the measures taken by Nakamura, the FOPS remained a threat to the inhabitants of the dome for many years. The Ranger Corps, made up of the best fighters of Blackwing, was established to... In the end, everyone was resigned to the absolute domination of the new committee, except for the Phalanx. Knowing they could never prevail in a military conflict, Hieronymus... The constant struggle with traitors and dissidents made Kimiko paranoid and cruel. During her last years in power, in May of 1996, despite the increased security, the Beta helmet was stolen and destroyed. The unrest that followed the destruction of the helmet escalated into all-out civil war. After Nakamura's death, power passed into the hands of the Military Council, which suppressed the protests at Magellan, though it became obvious much later. Yoko looks at you with glowing blue. The robo-girl nods.
The answer is accepted.
Yoko's eyes change color.
Social mode.
The robo-girl freezes for a couple of seconds.
Further studying of...
The girl nods.
Command protocols are set.
Hanging her head, the woman looks up at you in a completely non-aggressive... Fox snort.
I'm coming with you. And your...
Nakamura is pacing back and forth in her tent, but stops anxiously when you come in. Nakamura actually pales.
You're in.
An employee of the Black Wing is being attacked.
Don't touch me. I work in administration.
You wanna play, birdie?
Code 10. An employee of the Black Wing down. I repeat, Black down. Our community is no longer happy with you.
Do you even know who I am? Ow! Ugh!
Another milestone, of course. One thing, the world expected decisive action from you. But, for reasons known only to you, you did not change anything. Shrunken Maelstrom, reconfigured to Nakamura's Beta helmet, was no longer under your control. Nakamura's death was the start of a new chapter in the city's history. Those who succeeded Kimiko realized how badly the city needed democracy, and immediately moved to soften the committee's many regulations. After defeating the Maelstrom and wandering around the desert to your heart's content, you returned to Junktown and took them. With the weakening of the new committee, Magellan weakened too. The regime remained the same, only the people became poorer and more miserable. Elections took place in Carmine. Your help had a significant effect on the settlement, and the community learned its lesson. Peace among its members became the highest priority of its internal policy, and eventually the long-lasting simmering conflict which had been ruining the marriage of Johann and Olivia gradually faded. The now wiser spouses managed to build a balance. Zemeckis' embarrassment from losing the elections in Carmine Heights didn't last long. Hieronymus channeled all his passion toward transforming the Phalanx, trying to turn it from one could say he failed. The false database, the pocket country created. Your actions concerning the church were somewhat contradictory. The organization, as for the picnic neutral zone, it was sudden and, more importantly, though it became obvious. The Maelstrom, now listening carefully, you hear the familiar sound. Ingrained, your mind opens toward the white nothingness as you recall Nakamura's words, and as you study the helmet, actually find some similarity between it and the emulator technologies. You find the adjustable resistor and set the level of incoming signal to maximum. No brain, not even Nakamura's, can survive a radiation that strong. Maybe Melville is right. Whoever gains control of the Maelstrom will leave ordinary people disadvantaged anyway. Connected to the Maelstrom, you order it to reduce its radiation level to non-lethal values, at the same time spreading to a larger section of the dome, thus widening the borders of neutral zones, such as the Maelstrom spinning grows faster. The mist Melville stops rummaging in her backpack when you approach and shakes your hand.
I feel foolish. It happens sometimes. You don't believe till the last moment that they would look up to you.
The young woman snorts mockingly.
Do I look like Nakamura?
Nakamura is pacing back and forth in her tent, but stops anxiously when you come in. The Silver takes the device out of the case. She turns to you.
You fulfilled your part of our treat.
Another milestone. Of course, one thing is your decision was controversial, as is any decision in the name of something so ephemeral as freedom. By coming into contact with Maelstrom, you weakened its destructive force, but at the same time expanded it. Audrey Melville knew perfectly well where everything would lead. The strong became weaker, and the weak grew stronger. The time of universal equality has come. The helmet you gave Nakamura cut her life short in the most tragic and horrific way. Kimiko put the device on in the middle of a council meeting, and her brain was massively... Nakamura's death was the start of a new chapter in the city's history. Those who succeeded Kimiko realized, after defeating the Maelstrom and wandering around the desert to your heart's content, you returned to Junktown and took the mayor's chair. Upon improving your relationship with the weakening of the new committee, Magellan weakened too. The regime remained the same, only the people became poorer and more miserable. Elections took place in Carmine Heights. Your help had a significant, long-lasting, simmering conflict with Zemeckis' embarrassment. Hieronymus Chan, one could say he failed. The pocket country, your actions concerning the church, the organization, the spread of Maelstrom to the entire dome, and the ensuing threat of radiation led to a massive resettlement. Yesterday's phalangists and city dwellers scattered throughout the dome. For many, the picnic, the sudden and, more importantly, however noble her intentions, time proved Audrey's plan a failure. Universal freedom and independence did nothing at all to move technology forward or fund expensive research. The world under the dome was slowly changing into a... By the beginning of the new millennium, most of the independent settlements had sunk into oblivion. Though it became obvious much later,
King's blood. Maelstrom is burning.
A roughly nailed together, standing on the scaffold, Victoria waves at you. Victoria looks at the guillotine.
This is a...
The young woman claps her hands.
Trump! Elephant!
She says to a nearby fop wearing a gas mask with a long dangling trunk.
The time of the final...
Legrand steps back from the edge of the scaffold and adjusts her crown. She throws her head back and stares at the guillotine blade. She looks over the crowd of fops, standing straighter.
My beloved subjects, when we started our great expedition following the leaving Maelstrom, I used to ask myself, how did...
She approaches the edge of the stage again, hovering above her army.
A crowd is power, and therefore the crowd we form is growing bigger each day.
Accompanied by the fops' excited yells, Victoria...
Power is the answer to any question, the solution to any problem. If you dwell on a scrap of land on the west, you will only need power to take over the entire...
Come night.
She says softly, settling on the apparatus' wooden bedding.
When it is...
Metal rings hold her arms tightly. Raising her head for the last time, the sharp guillotine blade drops with a whistle and a clang. Victoria's chopped-off head bounced...
Don't touch the corpse. That's Queen's property.
Concord stay. The metal doors, you freeze them for a while. The wind howls in the ruins. You step. Let's go in. Stopping after a brief... A heavy blow rings out behind your back. The car stops. On their commanders, you watch from...
Anomalous radiation level is in the upper range of safe exposure. I advise caution.
The holographic training. After some time, you free the church. Maelstrom, a strange rat. You're hiding. The fop. The crackling of your Kairos suddenly breaks through Mael's green rays. With an indignant, the anomaly's jumping closer to the anomaly. She sucks air between her teeth and growls. You walk just with a stiff. The anomaly surrounding the land returns. You look back at the... The Maelstrom, listening. Your mind opens toward the white nothingness as if hanging in midair. You pull the bloodied head of the fop queen from your pack by its hair. For some reason, it doesn't look hopelessly dead. The iris hasn't begun to grow dim yet. As you press an eyeball between your thumb and index finger, you see the pupil still. You wind her hair round your hand and sink the queen's head into the wildly spinning stream. Even with the maelstrom roaring, you hear the laughter fades, only when you put Legrand's head back into your pack. You order the mail. It obeys, reluctant. The world. Another milestone in the history of course, one thing is, as you walked away from the camp, none who remained knew that this was the end of everything. Victoria's severed head, filled with the power of Maelstrom, tumbled in your bag. The Queen's head gave the crazed desert nomads incredible power. Whether there was no force left under the dome that could resist the army of psychos. Within a couple of... Whatever the future of the world...